Don Bolduc is the Republican running in the U.S. Senate. He joins us now, GMI Studios. Good morning, New Hampshire. Thanks for being with us, sir.
Jack, it's great to be with you, and my best to you and your listeners.
You know, one of the interesting things, I was listening to Senator Hassan earlier on with Mike on our Morning Information Center before my show, and she was saying one of the lines is that she'll work into her answers that you're the most extreme candidate that we've ever seen basically run for the United States Senate. This is interesting. Michael Graham from New Hampshire Journal pointed out to me this morning that the state Democratic Party has paid for a sign. It says paid for by the New Hampshire Democratic Party, Ray Buckley, chair. And it looks like your sign with the star, your colors of what you've been putting the signs out saying Don Bolduc supports a nationwide abortion ban. This is the stuff coming at you going into the final hours tomorrow. Is it going to have a backfire effect, or what's your reaction?
Well, I think people are tired of Senator Hassan lying. I have peeled those lies apart about my position on abortion. It's quite clear. It's a state rights issue. It's not a federal issue. She keeps trying to make it that. She has nothing to fall back on. Same thing with Social Security. I will invest in it. She's used 3 legislative cycles to take money from it. She doesn't, of course, tell people that. I will pay it back. I'll protect it, and I'll make sure that everybody gets the money that they've paid into it. Same thing with Medicare. I will protect that, and, I will make sure that everything that she hasn't done for Medicare over the last 6 years gets done to ensure that people on Medicare paying low prices. It's simple. It's in and out of network care, lower prescription drugs, and certainly get rid of the donut hole, which makes prescription drugs more expensive the longer you need them. And so it's just lies. And, using my sign, which is, copyrighted by my campaign, is just another indication that, they just are out of touch with Granite Staters, because it's about heating and eating. It's about people not being able to afford the basics of life, the necessities of life. And, oh, by the way, Joe Biden 2 days ago just came out and said, no more drilling. We're going to close the coal plants. And what did Senator Hassan do? Nothing. What did Elizabeth Warren do when she came here to campaign for her? Nothing. What has Don Bolduc said? That's wrong. We can't allow that to happen. And they're just going to make life more miserable, increase the misery index, and we have a moral imperative to vote her out of office so that we can get to work on restoring the livelihood of Granite Staters and securing the future for our children, grandchildren, and our great-grandchildren.
Don Bolduc Live, Good Morning New Hampshire on the eve of the midterms. I want to ask you this. Speaking of energy, and Joe Biden is saying no more drilling in New York at a speech going into the weekend or over the weekend. Maggie Hassan, in her interview with our morning show before my show on the Pulse of New Hampshire, basically said that you'll be beholden to big oil, that you'll be a friend of big oils if that's an answer to getting more oil and gas into New Hampshire for electricity and affordable rates. How do you respond to that?
Well, I say that's absolutely wrong. Just because I want to fix our energy crisis by bringing back fossil fuel, which is the bedrock for everything that we need to do in our society, run businesses, keep hospitals open, keep county nursing homes open, keep our schools open, run the infrastructure, bring prices down. That's not investing in the petroleum industry. That's investing in the future of Granite Staters and their families, and bringing back the prices that we had 2 years ago, because we're much worse off now. She forgets that, and I keep reminding people that she's the number 2 recipient of special interest and lobbyist money, including the petroleum industry. She has private stocks with Chevron and Exxon. I believe those are the 2. You'll have to correct me, but anyways, she's invested with these companies. I'm not. She's the one that is, trying to deflect and trying to use career politician double talk to get people to believe her lies and her deceptions. And it's just not working, because all you got to do is Google. All you got to do is look up FEC. All you got to do is do your own homework and say, hey, listen, what she has to say is absolutely dangerous. You know, she calls me an extremist. The only thing that's extreme about me is my common sense. She calls me a danger to our democracy. Well, I fought for this constitutional republic my whole life, and I will continue to fight for it. I am not a radical, and I'm not an extremist. I believe in this country. I believe in Granite Staters, and I've proven that, and she just has not. All her votes have hurt people.
Well, I want to ask you this. The Senator Hassan says that she's the most bipartisan senator in the Senate. Do you believe that?
No, of course I don't believe it. No, neither does anybody else. How can you be when you vote 100% with Joe Biden's failed policies that have hurt our economy, created a spending of money that we don't have, increased the misery index on all Granite Staters and Americans, and has weakened our nation both at home and abroad, and votes with Chuck Schumer 96% of the time? That's not bipartisan. I'm really not familiar with this group that voted that for her, but her record speaks for itself. She's not bipartisan by any stretch of the imagination. Look what she's done. If she was bipartisan, she would have stood up against Joe Biden's energy policies, his economic policies, his border policies that are killing Granite Staters, opioid crisis, human trafficking, illicit weapons trafficking, all these things that she has been avoiding on the campaign trail. You know, I'm getting ready to do tonight, Jack, my 83rd town hall. She has done 0. I have been out there for 2 years, every town and city. She has not.
Where's your event tonight?
So tonight's event is at 6 o'clock at the town hall in Exeter. A very historic place for us to do our last town hall before people go to the polls in the morning. And, we are poised with the momentum to win tomorrow because we are talking about the things that people care about. She is talking about status quo and not changing anything and maintaining everything that's hurt Granite Staters. And, by the way, she's going to make it worse.
I want to ask you this before I let you go. Don Bolduc, Republican U.S. Senate candidate. Senator Hassan is a former, as you know, 2-term governor. She's a 1-term senator, probably raised or has spent on this campaign more than $50 million. How much have you raised and spent? And why are the polls, why is this even a race? Why is she not where Governor Sununu's numbers are at 55%? Why does it look like a dead heat, or you might have a slight advantage based on the St. Anselm College poll? You've been vastly outspent. The Democratic State Party is using a sign that looks like yours, saying that you want to ban abortion nationally. How do you overcome these attacks and be successful tomorrow?
Well, that's just it. I've been out there on the ground. If you look at Peterborough yesterday, our town hall we did in Peterborough, we had 100 people there, and 3/4 of them had not heard Don Bolduc speak before. That's what we're getting at town halls during the general election. Independents and Democrats that have not heard Don Bolduc speak, that are seeing this stuff and wondering if it's true, or their neighbors have. If you haven't listened to him, you need to go listen to him, because what she says is not true. By being out there with the people at the degree in which we are, word of mouth carries. And people say to me all the time, they said it to me yesterday, they said it to me just in the diner that I spent an hour and a half with people in. Listen, I'm just hearing from my neighbors that everything that's being told about you is a lie, and to go see him. So I saw you were here, so I came, and now I'm asking you. And I tell them, and they look in my eye, and they sense my conviction in my heart, and they go, you got my vote now, and I'm going to tell everybody else that, these things are lies. That's how we overcome it. Signs don't vote.
CNN over the weekend had a story that the surprise Senate seat delivery might come from New Hampshire. Senator Rick Scott, chairman of the NRCS, the chairman of the NRSC was on early this morning, and he said, and he thinks you're going to win this race tomorrow. Are you?
Yes, we're going to win tomorrow. Nikki Haley was with us in Salem, where we had over 600 people in attendance for our town hall. And, I bring Nikki Haley, I bring Tulsi Gabbard, and many other reasonably minded people that want to fix the economy, stop the out-of-control spending, secure the future for our children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. And she brings in Jill Biden, who is just an example of the status quo and nothing will change. Cory Booker, Elizabeth Warren, only to double down on what they have done to New Hampshire and to the rest of the country and really hurt people. This is her example of how she's going to implement change by bringing people here who have voted the same way she has, and it's been detrimental to all of us.
Don Bolduc, thank you on the eve of the midterms, joining us, the Republican candidate, U.S. Senate at Live. Good morning, New Hampshire, the Pulse of an Age. Thank you, sir.